Hello, I'm Robin Feathers, co-owner of FA Amplification and Featherly Guitars, and you're watching Refreshments with Robin. This is going to be a great episode. This is episode number 5. You don't want to miss this episode, so hurry back. Hi, my name is Robin Feathers, co-owner of Featherly Guitars and FA Amplification. I've been involved in the music business for a really long time, and I've played a few shows, little bass, little guitar, some keyboards and drums on a rare occasion. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, I did 20 years active duty in the United States Navy, most of it aboard aircraft carriers, and saw some really cool places around the world. Over the years, I've built some really cool musical gear. Some guitars, some basses, some amplifiers, a few pedals, and some other odd musical instruments. At least people tell me that the stuff I'm building is cool. Now, it's just therapy for me. My friend Chris Lewis and I are building a guitar shop where we're planning on building some really high-end musical equipment. And we're doing it just because we love doing it. Most importantly, I've made a lot of really good friends along the way. So here's my chance to show you how really cool they are in a series where we just sit around and we have a relaxed beverage and a conversation. I call it Refreshments with Robin. All right, welcome back. Uh, Today's guest, if you're into PRS guitars at all, I actually kind of have become familiar with him through the PRS forums and hanging around at the events at PRS Factory. Man, very well known among the PRS guys for making some really outstanding truss rod covers. He does inlay work on them, and he also does some inlay work on guitars. Mr. Cliff Suttle of Shark Inlay. Cliff, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Robin. I appreciate being on your podcast.
Um, so how did you get started with doing inlay? And when did you actually do the first ones?
I kind of fell
Oh,
into
almost
it.
sorry, almost forgot. What's your beverage for today?
Oh, actually, it's just iced tea.
Okay. This is actually it's called Mio. It's a treatment that you put in water. So it's basically water. But
Uh,
this is dreamsicle flavor. It's orange vanilla. It's one of my favorites. Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
well, I kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
I used to write for a website called Harmony Central.
Okay.
I
Familiar
don't
with
know
it.
if you've
Yep.
heard of them. Yeah, they
Mhm.
used to be big back in the 2000s. I started writing for them, I think, in 1998.
Yeah.
And in 2000, they asked me to go cover the NAMM show.
Okay. Mhm.
And I had never been to the NAMM show, so that was really exciting for me. And they were going to pay me to do it.
Yeah.
So double wham. So I'm sitting around with my son at a Taco Bell. I still remember that. And he was about 7 at the time. And we're talking about, what can we do for articles?
Mhm.
And he was going, well, top 10 lists. Everyone loves top 10 lists. So I dreamed up this thing called the Golden Axe Awards. And I went
I
out there
I
and
vaguely remember that.
you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was my baby.
Mhm.
And I dreamed of the Golden Axe Awards, and we went out and picked out the, best 10 guitars at the show. And of course, each had to be like, over the top things, tripping and inlay and everything like that.
Mhm.
And so I put out the first one, the first year, and I got a call from a very nice gentleman named Ron Thorne.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know yeah, Yeti is what we call him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. And is he still the master builder of a Fender?
No, actually, last I heard he had separated again and he was back into doing his own thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't say I mind that because his own thing was really,
Oh
really
yeah,
great.
yeah, absolutely.
So
He's
anyway,
he's
he
very good.
he calls me out of nowhere and he's, just going, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going, thank you for what? It
Mhm.
turns out 3 of the top 10 guitars were inlaid by him.
Yeah. Mhm.
And they were amazing inlay. Ron's a real master craftsman.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so he was kind of going like, if there's anything I can do for you, Cliff, my phone's ringing off the hook. This is the most exciting thing. I will do it. He was talking about, doing an inlay fretboard for me for nothing. And
Yeah.
I didn't have him do that. But, it's kind of, as a writer, it's not ethical to do.
Yeah.
So but I remembered that. And so the next year I went in and I did the same thing, Golden Axe Awards, and I just was falling in love with the inlay art.
Yeah.
all this beautiful art that's on these guitars. I was just falling in love with it. And I decided I was going to try it. And then I thought, well, how do you find out how to do this? It, where do you go to learn? I mean, the internet was kind of in its infancy. There really was no place to go. And then I went, I know a guy.
Mhm.
So I called up Ron Thorne and called in my favor. And I said, Ron, tell me how you do inlay. And he spent about 2.5 hours on the phone with me, laying it all out, what I had to buy, where I had to go, what I had to do. And so I went and I just started doing inlay. You're breaking up on me here, Robin.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
So I went out and bought all the gear and just started doing it for fun.
Mhm.
Just try it. And I think I was driving my family crazy because I was inlaying everything, furniture, boxes, the driveway, anything I could inlay, I was doing it. And I did a few truss rod covers for myself. And then a friend of mine asked me for some truss rod covers. And so I made them like two covers. I forgot what they even were. Nothing, nothing too flashy, nothing too spectacular. And then when I gave them to him, he was going, well, how much do I owe you? And I was like, people will pay me for this? There's money involved.
Yeah.
So I went out and I started out a website, which was Shark Inlay, and I put it out there not having any idea. I think I had like 8 pictures on my site. It was very, very little,
Yeah.
but it took me 3 months to get my first sale. And then the next one came in 3 weeks. And then the one after that came in 3 days.
Yeah.
And I was on, I
Yeah.
was going.
Mhm.
And it started very slow at first, but then I did something that I think I was the first person to ever do it. Because at least as far as I know, I was the first person to ever do it. Is I made inlay designs that went outside the border of the truss rod cover.
Yeah.
So they extended outside the borders.
Right. Yeah, I've seen a few of
And
those. Yeah.
yeah, and the first one I did was called Eagle Mountain.
Mhm.
And I decided to release that as a limited edition. I was only going to make 20 of them, period. And you had to make your own material choices. No two could be identical.
Right.
That was the idea. Had no idea if I was going to sell them, threw them out on eBay. And I think the most expensive one went for like $280.
Mhm.
So they were just, a big hit. And I was on my way.
Yeah.
And I just started making all these covers that became my thing. Truss rod covers that expanded the border,
Yeah.
including some ones and I did a few that were really over the top.
Yeah.
I did one for a tailor that literally took over the entire headstock.
Nice.
It was about this big, and it just covered about 3/4 of the headstock with two owls facing each other.
Yeah.
And that really kind of gave me a name and put me on the planet.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I started getting, PRS started referring people to me. And, I started working with some other, companies and custom builders. And then I kind of did that for about 20 years.
Yeah. My business partner, Chris, he says hi, by the way. He's had
Hi,
you do a
Chris.
couple of inlays for him. One of them was on a guitar that we called a Dudecaster. The story of the guitar was it was a early model, about a 2000 model CE that he got from a guy who had it sitting on a guitar stand in his living room, and he left the room for a few minutes, and he heard this thump, and he came back, and his Rottweiler, apparently about a 70-pound dog, had knocked it over, and the body was in 7 pieces.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
so he glued it back together, and Chris bought it he got it in a trade for like a Mesa Boogie amp or something like that, and we sent it off to a buddy of mine and had him paint, the physician symbol of the body with the Da Vinci symbol. Had that
Hmm.
done, but it's the picture, the guy in the picture is the dude.
Hmm.
And so the guitar has been dubbed the Dudecaster. And the headstock or the truss rod cover was one of the ones you made for him. And he also had a yin yang truss rod cover done. And I forgot what else he said. He's got actually several pieces of your work. Uh, and like I say, everything that I've seen, shoot, I can't even remember all the names of the guys that I know that have your work. Mike Petrich is one of them. Big Mike out in California. He's an old family friend. I know he's spoken pretty highly of you. And I am almost positive that my brother Chet has had you do some work for him, although when he passed away, all of his guitars made their way in different directions. And I know you didn't do the feather inlay that we have, but I'm positive that you've done some work for him in the past. So you retired in 2023,
Right. October.
um, and are you doing anything with inlay now, or is it just kind of you're done with inlay
I've
altogether?
done a couple projects for myself,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
Is it one of
I
those
suppose if
things?
somebody came and gave just inspired me with some really cool project they wanted to do,
Yeah.
I might take it on.
Yeah. Is it
But
one of those things to where you love it so much that you can't step away from it, and that you're always going to be at least tinkering with it, or are you just kind of like just have no desire to do it anymore?
well, I really like the creative projects,
Yeah.
but there's only so many people's names you can put on a fretboard,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
where most of the time people just ask for things that I've done 1,000 times,
Yeah.
and I just kind of got to the point where I was just grinding through the effort,
Right.
and so I was kind of going like, yeah, I want to try some other things in my life, and so let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm probably always going to tinker with it. I remember when I retired, my wife goes, "Well, are you going to sell your can machine and your other equipment down there?" And I went, like, "Hell no, that's not happening."
Yeah. It's like when my wife married me, she knew that I play guitar and I built guitars and everything like that, and it's just never been a question. Every time I come up with another piece of wood, she says, "Oh, that's going to make you a really nice guitar." And it was actually just a couple years ago that Chris and I decided that we were going to start building guitars and selling them. But yeah, I've been tinkering and doing that kind of stuff for a really long time. I did a foray for a little while with building amplifiers, and I still do it a little bit, but um, unfortunately, I had because of my military career, I had some issues with my spine and my head and everything like that. And I had some really, really, really bad headaches in 2013, 2014 that just took it out of me. And I don't have the concentration to do it anymore, unfortunately, but it's still something I love to do. I love to build stuff. I love to tinker. I love to carve stuff out of wood. So always be doing that.
Well, I do see you making a lot of
Yeah.
guitars.
We,
You're always posting partial builds and stuff
yeah, we're
online. I
we're
love
we're
seeing them.
actually doing it now I mean, I've been building guitars on my back porch forever. Um, but now on Chris's property, he's got a little shop set up back there, and we're actually starting to build guitars that we're going to be selling. So we're doing batches of four. We're thinking probably about 12 guitars a year, maybe, but batches of three or four guitars at a time. And they're going to vary between guitars and basses. Right now, I just did a presentation last weekend of the um, uh, Walnut Telly that it's just a fantastic guitar. I mean, not trying to blow my own horn or anything like that, but it came
Go
out
ahead.
really better than I expected.
I don't
Uh,
think I've seen the photographs of the finished product. I think I
uh,
saw
I
that one partially built.
I just posted a bunch of them on Sunday,
Oh,
and
okay.
there's some video that's there. There may be a around the shop video. I looked at some of the video from that today, and unfortunately, it didn't record well. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of building guitars and basses for other people right now, and not really doing custom stuff. Unfortunately, I've had some bad experiences with custom stuff. So is Chris. where people will just change their mind halfway through the building process and say, I don't want to do it that way anymore. And in order to do it the way they want to, you got to go back 12 steps and redo it from there. Or you send it to them and they say, this isn't what I asked for, and demand their money back. Just stuff like that. So we're not doing custom. What we're doing is we have access to some really, really, really nice wood, and we're buying the wood, and then we're going to let the wood dictate what instrument it wants us to build, and we're building it that way. The big seller or big ones that people have made the most comments on are Telecasters. We're doing different things with Telecasters, and people seem to like that. So we're probably going to be doing one every batch, and then one base. But we're doing custom stuff, or not custom stuff, but we're doing stuff where we're not doing painted finishes or anything like that. We're just doing really nice wood in certain orders, and doing natural finishes on them.
Well, if you have a really beautiful piece of wood, it's a crime to cover it up with paint.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's just the whole way we're looking at it right now. There's a couple places locally that have some just absolutely amazing wood. We've got some Norway maple that's just beautifully flamed, and we've got some. We call it bacon wood. It's box elder.
Oh, okay.
It looks like bacon. We have plans on making at some point in time. We've got a really cool piece of Purple Heart. We're going to make a naturally colored pink and purple guitar. And as a matter of fact, we've been talking about it lately. We're probably going to do a set, both a guitar and a bass. And there's also some stuff that we got, pink ivory, that is just beautiful. There's probably be some of that in the guitar as well, but that stuff is, I mean, unfortunately, this stuff is expensive. So
Mhm.
the prices on them are not going to be, they're going to be up there a little bit. And we spend a lot of time working on guitars too. So um,
Yeah,
anyway,
that's part of the reason why too I kind of suspended inlay is that the materials were just getting priced out of sight.
yeah. And
Uh,
we had some stuff that I sent you an offer a little while back, some stuff that's offcuts of some good builds that we were doing. And I was going to offer that to you to do some truss rod covers with, because some of the stuff would make really nice truss rod covers, but you had already bowed out of the picture at that point in time. So, I take it you play guitar as well?
yeah, I play my best instrument ever was probably keyboards.
Yeah,
I also played bass and drums,
yeah,
but I've got a bunch of guitars, laying right here.
yeah,
And as a matter of fact, I can show. I got one sitting here in the corner.
yeah.
Speaking of PRSs, uh, most people probably not familiar with my work.
Hmm.
This is now I haven't changed the body or anything. This is actually I redid the pickup covers,
Yeah.
and the inlay is suspended between them.
Okay. That's
So
actually really
these
cool.
yeah, these pickup covers are actually made out of ebony wood, and you can see that the inlay just attaches to it. So if I ever want to turn it just back into a PRS,
Yeah.
I can do it. And then, I did a bunch of these
Hmm.
eagles on the back cover.
Yeah.
And if you were talking about the truss rod covers that go outside you can see that that's an eagle on an American flag.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that one I did for myself. I only made two of those ever
Yeah.
because one of them went out as a limited edition.
Hmm.
And I think that one sold for like $380 or something
Yeah.
like that. It was for a truss rod cover, just I was going like, wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
But so there's two of them out there. I got one and somebody else has one.
Are there any of them that kind of stick out to you as being just really off the wall or weird, or really cool ones?
Well, can I do a screen share?
Sure.
Or we can do I don't see the option here. You might have to allow. Oh, there we go. Let's do a screen share. And okay. So this one is probably my favorite piece ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was actually done for Minaret guitars,
Hmm.
and I believe it was his non-booth showpiece. I can't remember the year. I want to say like 2012, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, this piece, I mean, obviously it took a long time to do. It's 22.5 inches wide
Yeah.
and made out of some really great materials, including the skin, which is mammoth ivory.
Yeah.
I ran into mammoth ivory and it just makes incredible skin.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Where are some other really nice pieces that I've just loved? I got I got Grateful Dead stuff, but that's kind
Mhm.
of boring because I had to
I've
copy some
seen
of it.
those before.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's kind of like, people want them, but someone else designed them.
Yeah.
It's like I want to do my own designs, and I really don't want to do, someone else's design. Let's see. There's this. I'm looking for pieces that the ones that. Oh yeah, where's the control plates? Control plates. Here we go. Here we go. This is one of my favorites here.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, this is about 5.5 feet or 5.5 feet, 5.5 inches tall.
Yeah.
It's for the control plate on a Grateful Dead style guitar
Yeah.
underneath the bridge. And you can see there's a little hole here and a little hole there. I really like that one. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. Don't I have a close-up picture of that somewhere? It's not a very good shot. This is the Blues for Allah
Yeah. Mhm.
cover from, this is one of my favorites. I really like that one.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Robbie the Robot was pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was taken from the poster.
Yeah.
That scene is not actually in the movie, but it was, I took the scene from the poster.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Kind of poking around here. Um, oh, is that better? Oh, that's a small one. Okay, I had a big one here. Let's look at truss rod covers. Yeah, I can show you one of the things that put me on the map too. I had somebody one time ask me to do their dog, not something like their dog. And then all of a sudden I got flooded by people wanting me to do their pets.
Yeah.
So, I've got like this little kitty and
That one I've seen before.
yeah, and my favorite is the Dalmatian. This was probably the favorite one I ever did. This was the dog. And here is the truss rod cover is here.
Okay.
So you can see that, very much, I try as hard as I can to really capture them. And I just got flooded. I mean, I was just doing tons of these animals. And they were, I, I sort of became the guy. Although sometimes, people would send me a picture of their dog and their dog would be all black,
Hmm.
black eyes, black hair, black nose, black tongue. And I would write them back and I really can't turn that into an inlay piece.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. I mean, this isn't like airbrush where you can gently fade between colors. You have to go from one color to another.
Yeah.
And they would get so mad at me because I refused to do their dog.
Yeah.
I was going, I'm trying to save you paying me money to do something you're going to hate.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But, it's, let's see, I wanted to show, oh, where's Eagle Mountain? I wanted to show that because that was there it is. This is that first one that got me into doing the oversized covers. So I believe this was oh no, that was 7. Where's 1? Where's Eagle Mountain 1? Eagle Mountain 2, Eagle Mountain 1. So that was the first Eagle Mountain.
Wow.
And that was the first one I ever did that went outside the boundaries of the cover.
Yeah.
And I tried to, because I wanted to do something like this, like an eagle landing on a mountain. But when you try to go inside the cover, it just gets so muted and funny, like barely looks like a bird anymore.
Yeah.
So then as soon as I did that, then then the rest was kind of history. Here's that uh, one on the American flag.
Yeah.
And uh, yeah, and then I another one I did oh wow, that's really small. But you can see a Dragon Mountain. I did that as a limited edition,
Yeah.
and uh, just a whole bunch of different ones. And then of course there were things that everyone loves skulls,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Gotta do skulls.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering if that one if I got the picture.
There's a few in there that I recognize. I probably know the people that you made them for. As a matter
Ah,
of fact, there was an Iron Cross in there just a second ago. Did you make those for Frankie?
Maybe.
Yeah, Frankie Clark, guitar player up in Maryland. Great guy. He just passed away a couple years ago.
Okay, I've done thousands of these.
Yeah.
So now here's one they did that was a feather.
Oh,
Maybe that
nice.
one
Yeah.
was that one for your
Well, the
brother?
ones that Chet had made were twin feathers.
Ah,
Although, I mean, he might have had that. I don't know. I didn't see all of the ones he had on his guitars. He actually had quite a few guitars, so that very well
ah,
could have been.
okay. And then this was one of my favorites too, which was um, Ever Watchful.
Mhm.
That was I've made a lot of these. I've done thousands of pieces over the years. Everything from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Yeah.
I once did a gerbil with a Hemi engine on its back. It was
Nice.
on some guy's fretboard, and that's what he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he wanted. So
Mhm.
that's what I gave him. But you never know what somebody's going to ask. Sometimes people come in, oh, I love this one. Yeah, this was a favorite of mine. The
Oh, that's
Pharaoh.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this one. This guy actually sent me a picture of his tattoo, and he wanted me to match his tattoo.
Mhm.
And so, I came up with that. And then he was going like, damn it, you made me hate my tattoo. I like this better.
Yeah,
So
like I
yeah,
say,
and
there's a few of them I can see in there that I definitely recognize.
yeah. And let's see, go back to control plates. Because there was a couple control plates that I just, besides that one, that I just love. And I'm not seeing them. Why do I not see them? I actually lost some artwork. Matter of fact, if anyone listening has the Viper 2 truss rod cover, I lost pictures of those,
Yeah.
and those were so cool.
Mm.
I would love somebody to send me pictures of those. Yeah, here's the dancing turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let me stop the share here. And if I can remember how to stop the share. Okay, stop video. No, I'm not a Zoom expert.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not really either.
oh, great. Blind leading the blind. That's what we got here. I just want to do a stop share and try to figure out how to do that. Can you do it on your end? Because I seem to have. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. Stop share. There we are.
There we go. Okay.
Yep.
So, do you have any words that you would pass along to somebody who is just learning how to do this and maybe wants to get into it?
Yeah, I would say that if you want to get into it to have fun, doing it by hand is, a great way to get started.
Yeah.
I mean, it's inexpensive. You don't really need much equipment. You need a good Dremel, and there's a thing called a V block,
Mhm.
which is I'm going to tell this story. This goes back to working with Ron Thorne. One of the things he told me was to buy a V block, which is basically there's a piece of wood and there's a V shape, and you put whatever you're cutting between it, and there's like a little hole, and you can cut. Well, I went out to LMI
Yeah.
and bought something called a V block, which basically looked more like a shoehorn. And I was like basically breaking my fingers trying to get this to happen.
Yeah.
And so finally I called up Ron and went, how do you, how do you do? I mean, I'm getting carpal tunnel syndrome trying to do this. How do you do this? And he's going like, well, did you get the V block? Yeah, I got the V block. So he goes, so send me a picture. So I sent him a picture. He just starts laughing. He goes, that's not a V block. It's this thing.
Yeah.
So, basically I was just doing like a wedge piece of wood, and I
Yeah.
would like hold it off on the edge and try to hold the piece down with like clamping. But that was with growing pains. Don't give up.
Yeah. I know
Um,
a lot of people I know are the ones that are trying to get into this kind of stuff are doing CNC, and
uh,
I just think it's amazing that you and Ron both are doing it like the guys that built the SR-71. They used slide rules. They didn't have freaking computers back in those days, you know.
yeah.
I just think it's amazing when people can do that. And
Well,
um,
I did it by hand for a long time,
yeah,
but then I did go to CNC.
yeah,
I was getting a lot of notoriety on a website which I don't believe is around anymore, called Birds and Moons,
yep, yep.
which
Familiar with
was
it. I
a
know. Yeah, I know everybody there. Yeah.
yeah, and that was it was basically a fan site for PRS players.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
Redmatic 61 is who I am on there. That's my email address as well.
oh, is it still around?
Yeah, it is. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I should jump back out there
Vintage
sometime.
Rocker is it kind of migrated over there and it goes back and forth, but Birds and Moons is actually still around.
Okay. Oh, I can't believe I lost pictures of the Viper too. That just really upsets me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so let's see. Birds. Huh, that's weird. Anyway, I designed a truss rod cover
Yeah.
for Birds and Moons, which was basically just, I took basically the PRS bird and the PRS moon and merged them together
Yep.
into one design.
Yeah.
And I decided to, help run the site by saying that, if anyone ordered one, I would give a piece of the proceeds to Birds and Moons to
Right.
help run the site.
Yeah.
And then I got an order for 42 of them. I was not ready for that
Yeah.
at all. And so I was talking to a buddy of mine who was a small time guitar builder. And I was going like, how am I going to do this? He's going, well, you gotta go to CAM machine. You got to do that. And so I'm going like, oh, well, now I got to figure out. He goes, the guy next door is selling one.
Nice.
He goes, go over there and talk to him. You can get your setup today. And so I went next door and I liked his little machine he had, and I got it set up and started running it and did all 42 truss rod covers with CAM machine, because that would have drove me nuts doing
Yeah.
42 with the same design.
Yeah.
And by the time I was on number 42, I would have been insane.
Mhm.
Doing them with with the CNC, well, that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was doable.
Yeah.
And saved a lot of time. It also increased the quality, because all of a sudden my glue joints weren't good; they were great.
Yeah.
I used to call what I did, the shell was growing out of the wood,
Mhm.
because they were so tight.
Yeah.
And I never looked back. I think I made, just in that design, I think I made eventually about 150 of those things.
Yeah.
So it was, and I really never looked back.
Yeah.
Doing something like I showed in the beginning, the Big Angel,
Mhm.
Big Rock and Roll. I couldn't imagine doing that without a CAM machine.
Yeah.
That would have been a nightmare
Yeah.
to do a project like that.
Yeah.
And I suppose you could, but it's just so much more accurate, so much more clean,
Right.
to use a CAM machine. But a CAM machine is an expense. That's what I'm saying. That'll be my advice, is if you really want to go into business, you can't really make a profit out of it doing it by hand.
Yeah.
It's just too slow.
Right. Yeah.
The amount that you would have to charge to do, any kind of a serious piece would just be astronomical.
Yeah.
And something like the Rock and Roll Angel, I suppose someone could do it by hand, but it would be just a nightmare,
Yeah.
to do by hand.
Right.
Because the thing is that was 142 pieces
Yeah.
in that design you saw. So, what you would have to have done would have been cut all 142 pieces and then arrange them all and then scribe all the wood and then cut it as fine as you can and then put it all in and then take it all out and adjust it and put it all in.
Yeah.
It would be hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
And you can't charge you can't charge enough to make that valuable.
Right. Right.
So,
Well, we're
the thing
about out
is,
of time.
oh, okay.
Our 40
Wow,
minutes
that
is almost
wow.
up. It went by fast. It does
It
tend to go by
sure
very
did.
quickly. Cliff, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me here. It's been great talking to you. I'm
Yeah,
very happy that we
fantastic.
finally got a chance to meet. We've been kind of hovering around each other for several years now. We just never really interfaced, and
Yeah, if you're
it's great.
commenting on my stuff, I'm commenting on
Yeah,
your stuff.
yeah, it's great to finally make your acquaintance, and I hope we can just keep in touch. And like I say, you got a big fan right here. I'm a big fan of your work. Very appreciative of everything
And
that you've
vice
done.
versa.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
the guitars you're making, they just look awesome. I've
trying.
not played one, but they look amazing.
I'm still trying to get my chops back up. I built guitars a lot of years ago and I'm just starting to get back into it again. So it's work in progress. Anyway, thank you again.
Oh, thank
This
you.
is
I enjoyed being on the show.
episode 5 of Refreshments with Robin. It's been a great episode. Cliff, if you're available at some point in time in the future, we can continue this conversation. But for now, from both Cliff and I, thank you very much. You all have a great evening.